Joining me on the microphone tonight is Mistress Mouth.
Hello.
And Bane. Or Banana. Or several other names. You pick one. He won't complain. So let me take a quick survey. Hands in the air. Who's never seen roller derby before other than me? All right, great. So a very friendly crowd. Get to know the people next to you. Ask them questions. And Mouth and I will take you through the basics of roller derby for the first 4 or 5 jams. So listen to us or don't. The game's awesome. You're going to love it either way.
Each team is fielding 4 blockers and 1 jammer, the jammer being the one with the star on her helmet. Those are the ones that score the points. First thing they'll have to do, though, is get through that pack. Soon as the whistle starts, everyone goes at the same time, and they're off.
On the track right now for your high rollers, it's Avalanche with the star on her helmet and Start a Ruckus for the Breakneck Betties.
Start a Ruckus going to the penalty box for back blocking. You cannot push an opponent in the back. If she falls over, you're going to the penalty box.
Avalanche is what we call lead jammer. She was the first jammer to break out of the pack. She's on her scoring pass right now, and every time she passes a skater from the opposing team, she gets 1 point. Right now being dragged to the back of the pack and starting her run through the group.
She is through, and that's 5 points there for the high rollers, drawing first blood as the blockers regroup, trying to shut her down at the front of the pack.
30 seconds on the track by herself for Avalanche. That's called a power jam as we put Start a Ruckus back on the track from the penalty box. Avalanche up front on her hands and knees and now being recycled to the back of the pack.
If you get pushed out of bounds, you have to re-enter behind the pack, and there goes Start a Ruckus through on her initial pass.
Avalanche calling it off. The advantage of being lead jammer, that first jammer to break out of the pack, is that you have the opportunity to call off the jam whenever you like. A normal jam runs 2 minutes if it's full length, but a jammer who is lead jammer can call that off anytime she feels like it. It's a strategy. You'll see people do it all night long.
Here we've got number 299. That's Bad Wolf lining up for the high rollers, taking on Sprout of Control for the Betties.
So let's talk about all those other skaters on the track. Those are what we call blockers.
The blockers are trying to stop those jammers from getting through the pack. There goes Bad Wolf picking up lead jammer for the high rollers.
And Sprout of Control still stuck in the pack, hung up behind the blockers from the high rollers.
Bad Wolf now into the pack at the back, looking for a scoring run. Again, she's going to pick up 1 point for each opposing player that she passes.
Blockers running double duty in this game all the time, running offense and defense at the same time, trying to slow down the opposing player and help your own player through the track. Right now, up front, Bad Wolf breaks out and takes 5 points.
Sprout of Control takes off the star but puts it back on. She is still jammer for the Betties.
And that's Iron Meg on her way to the penalty box for having done something naughty. So speaking of having done something naughty, let's talk about penalties a little bit. Mistress?
Well, one thing I mentioned already, we saw you cannot push an opponent in the back and have them fall over or lose position. You can't use elbows. You can't use your head to block someone.
That is correct, and you can only pass people inside the track.
That is also true.
That's my favorite one. So on the track, it's nothing going on right now. We've got a timeout.
We have a team timeout as called by the high rollers.
Each team in the game gets 3 regular timeouts for the whole game. The officials can take as many timeouts as they like, and they can last as long as they like, whereas a team timeout only lasts 1 minute. Unless it becomes a review has no time limit, but you only get 1 review per game, or maybe 2 if you're lucky. Ladies and gentlemen, show of hands, who's confused? You will get it, I promise. You're going to love this. You're going to want to do it. That's the thing.
And just a reminder, we've got the Purple Rain. The ladies wandering around in purple shirts are here to help you understand the sport. So if you have a question, flag them down and they can help you out.
On the line for your high rollers, it's Minstrel Psycho.
Taking on Super Six-Pack of the Breakneck Betties.
Two amazing veterans of this game. Both those ladies have been on the track with these teams for a long, long time. The experience shows. And that's number 1967, Rage of Aquarius, on her way to the penalty box.
Super Six-Pack out of the pack, picks up a lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties, looking to put some points on the board for the ladies in red here for the first time.
Minstrel Psycho on her way to the penalty box, leaving Super Six-Pack on the track in a power jam all by herself.
Super Six-Pack getting called on the cut track penalty, will go to that penalty box for 30 seconds, where Minstrel Psycho's been hanging out for a few already.
So we'll see the trade. Looks like Minstrel Psycho's just about to be released back onto the track as Super Six-Pack sits down. She's released because Derby with no jammers is just no fun. Minstrel Psycho weaving her way through the pack right now, breaking out. Ripley gets a piece of her at the very end.
And Minstrel Psycho recycled back through, has a full wall of 4 red blockers, trying to work her way around. Knocked to the inside there by Rage of Aquarius. That time goes for the outside. She is through on her initial pass.
Super Six-Pack taking a beating right now in the backfield from Braun Swanson and Iron Meg, making no progress right now, being dragged to the back of the pack.
Oh, big hit there by number 260. That was Envy Adams.
Minstrel Psycho shrugging off a huge hit on the line and breaking out to take another 4 points.
A lot of pushing and shoving going in the pack there.
Super Six-Pack on the line. The ladies in green showing her where to go. And a forearm penalty called on Nani Richardson. She's on her way to the penalty box.
And just like that, the penalty box starts to fill up. Each penalty costs you 30 seconds in the penalty box.
Bane, what do you got? Fake.
Derby wheels are not the only wheels in town. You can check out Bike Punk, bikepunk.com, locally printed, eco-friendly stickers, signs, and design. Visit bikepunk.com.
All right, we're right back at it on the line right now. Start a ruckus for your Breakneck Betties.
And Avalanche rocking the star for the high rollers up at the front of the pack. One more to get around. That's number 9. Your mom's favorite. She is through and picked up lead jammer for high rollers.
Avalanche, and the pack is just spread out all over the place. Most of the high rollers heading to the penalty box are already sitting in it as Starter Ruckus blows through on the outside and takes all 5, just takes 4. That was nuts. Bane, what do you got?
Thirsty? Enjoy an amazingly cold Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Available out our concession stand. Thank you, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Why I wasn't ready to go.
On the line right now, Sprout of Control for your Breakneck Betties.
Sprout of Control gets knocked to the outside. Bad Wolf stays inside, picks up lead jammer for the high rollers.
Sprout of Control having a tough time getting started, but now has broken out and is also on her scoring pass.
Bad Wolf, coming up against the back of, I think that was
driving hit through the line for Bad Wolf and calling off that jam.
3 points high rollers on that last pass and 4 for the Betties.
And for a delicious after-bout snack, try Voodoo Donut. Won't shrink your head, won't shrink your wallet. Voodoo Donut.
On the line once again, Over here. Super six-pack up for your Breakneck Betties. And Neurotic Nedra on the line for the High Rollers.
Super six-pack with only 2 to get around. Gets around. Number 7, Harikari is your lead jammer.
Neurotic Nedra, 1 more to get by. Breaks out. Super six-pack, your lead jammer. Wall of green in the backfield. Super six-pack on it.
There goes Neurotic Nedra taking advantage of that penalty situation for the Betties. Picking up an easy 4 points before the end of that jam. Bane?
And if you are going to enjoy those Pabst Blue Ribbons, do not drive, but call a cab, a radio cab, the other way to roll. Call a cab today.
High Rollers off to a sharp start, 33-13, and they put Avalanche on the line.
Avalanche up against Starter Ruckus for the Betties. Big pack advantage here. Only 1 blocker for the Betties on the track.
That's a tactical disadvantage. But up front, it's Ripley holding down Avalanche.
Oh!
Absolute standstill at the front line. Cleared it out. Lead jammer, High Rollers. That was amazing.
That really was. I am absolutely speechless. And here comes Avalanche again looking for points. She gets knocked to the inside and recycling to the back.
Starter Ruckus having a tough time breaking out. Finally, 1 more. High Rollers sticking to her like glue all the way through the pack. She's on her scoring pass.
And we've got Avalanche getting bumped to the inside again. Decides she's had enough of that jam and calls it off.
That was a super jam. Bane.
If you're wondering how they do this, check out CrossFit Magnus, the official fitness partner of the Wheels of Justice, your reigning champions of the world.
And that's Sprout of Control on the line for your Breakneck Betties.
And she is taking on Bad Wolf for the Rollers. Ooh, last second whistle there, icing the jammers on the jammer line.
Looks like we're in an official timeout. One of us is going to run down to the track and find out what's going on.
And as she runs down,
good call.
You can check out our snack bars where we'll be serving 2-Town cider and new Belgian Brewing Company beer, Fat Tire Ale or Ranger IPA. Grab one from the concession stand now.
I think, Mistress, I'm going to make a guess. There may have been too many skaters on the track.
All right, it seems as though the referees are just taking a moment to make sure that all the penalties are being assessed. Yes, making sure everyone got their penalties.
So what was the mishap?
Well, there were several skaters that were in the queue for the penalty box, because if the box is full and somebody else is sent, of course, there's not enough seats. So there's a queue, and they were just taking a moment to make sure that everyone who was given a penalty will actually be serving their penalty time.
There we go. Thank you so much, Mistress. Please clap.
Yeah, I was just about to. And if you're wondering where you can get more tickets all season long, check out the Nightlight Lounge, Rose City Rollers' favorite Clinton Street bar and the only place to get Rose City Rollers tickets in town. Nightlight Lounge.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now is a great time to pick up some of those raffle tickets. Those tickets are $1 each, 10 for 5, $20 for your height. an amazing package we're giving away tonight, and we're back at it on the line.
Bad Wolf lining up against Sprout of Control.
Betties down 2 to the penalty box with Bad Wolf slamming away at the front end.
She's got Sweet Jane to get around, runs out the pack. They gotta let her go. She's the lead jammer for High Rollers.
Sprout of Control still hung up behind the wall of green. High Rollers really working the line. Iron Meg working the middle right now, backing up.
Sprout of Control trying to follow Bad Wolf through the back of that pack. Getting shut down there by Harikari and Bronze Swanson. There goes Bad Wolf. Picking up 5 points. That's a grand slam, ladies and gentlemen.
Rarely a scarier line in all of roller derby than Iron Meg, Bronze Swanson, and Harikari.
No, it scares me a little bit up here, and I'm out of danger. So
Role reversal now. The Betties are dropping the three-point wall on Bad Wolf, and no one's going anywhere.
Sprout of Control still trying to get around Iron Meg and Bronze Swanson. We got number 76, King Doom Hearts there, bridging the gap. And there goes Sprout of Control.
Harikari and Iron Meg in to scrape off the High Rollers line. And that jam is off, officially making it almost 1/4 of the way around the track.
Are you a superhero?
I want to be.
If you are, unleash your inner superhero at suckittomeme.com.
Suck it to me.
They have
Suck it
matching
to you.
panties.
On the line, a matchup for the ages. It's Minstrel Psycho versus Super Six Pack. As the pack goes completely crazy.
Just a lot of mixing up going there. We've got some penalties to be served here.
Super Six Pack breaks out and takes lead jammer.
Minstrel Psycho still trying to get through that pack, getting tripped up on number 1967 Rage of Aquarius.
Psycho dishing out some heavy hits of her own, trying to break out of the pack. The Betties swarming her at the front end, and Ripley on her way to the penalty box for a forearm.
The Super Six Pack there picking up a 5-point grand slam. Minstrel Psycho still working on her initial pass. She's now out. Gonna be looking for points. Super Six Pack bump to the inside is gonna get run to the back, but calls off the jam instead.
And you can also check out Buffalo Gap Saloon and Eatery. Long's Landing, favorite eatery and saloon. John Landings.
Hey, I want to say a beautiful block at the end of that jam at the apex with Rita Manuel just slamming the jammer into the interior, putting a halt to that, what could have been a great apex jump.
You shall not pass, she says. We've got number 69, Starter Ruckus here, jamming for the Betties up against Avalanche for the Rollers. And there goes Avalanche picking up lead jammer.
Harikari on her way to the penalty box right now. Both jammers out of the pack. It's a foot race to the back of the line.
Here we have Avalanche now working on points with a spin through the pack, calls off the jam.
Bronze Swanson and Rogue One ready for action in there right when that was called off. Bane.
And we want to give a huge thanks to those who make us look good. Timothy Murray Photography. Visit TimothyMurrayPhotography.com for classic black and white film derby images.
We've got Bad Wolf here lining up against Sprout of Control. High Rollers in the lead 49-18.
Both teams down 1 to the penalty box, and it's 2 triangles fighting it out on the line. Ripley rejoining the line and sweeping Rita Manuel out of the way.
Your mom's favorite getting kind of plowed down there, and we've got Bad Wolf on the way to the penalty box.
Sprout of Control with 2 more to get by. Cannot shrug off Fashionista.
And since our lead jammer went to the penalty box, this jam will go the full 2 minutes.
Fashionista on her way to the penalty box, and we're down to a very small game. Sprout of Control back on the line. High Rollers working hard to keep her under control.
Ripley getting in there, and Northern Lights Out trying to break that up. Sprout of Control now with one more to get around.
Envy Adams up front holding down the shop. Tries to slide her out and can't stop her. Out goes Sprout of Control.
The two Betty blockers on the track are scrambling to try to shut down Bad Wolf, who is now out of the penalty box.
Bad Wolf on her scoring pass, and Sprout of Control breaks out. Huge hit at the very end. Hari Kari throwing everything at it she's got. 23-49. High Rollers want to hold that lead.
And just because you're in the bathroom, that's no reason to get caught with your pants down. Call Black Cat Plumbing. Black Cat Plumbing, your local neighborhood plumbing company and proud part of Rose City Rollers since 2009.
On the line. Oh, we're in an official timeout. On your way. Somebody will be down there just a moment to find out what's going on. Great time to remind you to pick up some of those raffle tickets. Tonight's package is huge, worth more than $250, and it could be yours for just an investment of $1, or 10 tickets for $5, or your height for $20. Mistress is on her way down there. It looks like we're getting close to getting things back underway. And abandoned ship. We'll never know.
They must have been thinking about amazing tacos that can be had at Porque No. Check out
yes.
Porque Yes to Porque No.
And it's Neurotic Nedra for the High Rollers versus Sprout of Control once again. Nedra up front takes lead jammer. Breakneck Betties just can't find a way to slow her down. Super six-pack on her way to the penalty box.
Neurotic Nedra picks up 5 points and a grand slam for the High Rollers.
Nedra slamming her way through the line. Once again, shoots for the out, finds herself down on the outside and calls it off.
Feeling warm? That's because we're heating things up. Grab yourself a 2-town cider from the concession stand.
Avalanche on the line here, starting out this jam in a power jam. All the blockers on the track.
And Avalanche way up front, red line holding her down, way down as she recovers in the turn. High Rollers trying to clear the path.
And they're trying to break it up so Avalanche can get through. Here comes Super Six Pack though, out of the penalty box and into the pack. Avalanche still working that front line. She's got one more to get around. She does it. She's your lead jammer.
High Rollers holding down the dam in the very back with Super Six Pack having a tough time breaking out. One more to get by. Well, it's actually two. Bashionista joining on the outside, and she's on her scoring pass.
Avalanche now looking for points at the back of the pack. Has had enough. She calls off the jam.
Avalanche with a very enthusiastic call off on that one. Bain.
Franz isn't just a country. It is also a bakery, proudly serving Portland since 1906. Franz Bakery.
We've got Bad Wolf lining up here against Starter Ruckus. Empty penalty box. Everyone's here for the party.
I was just actually counting to be sure. Yes, all 8 blockers on the track, and we've got quite a bunch up right at the starting line.
Starter Ruckus looking for the outside lane. She goes low to avoid the hit. Picks up lead jammer for the Betties.
Starter Ruckus, lead jammer. Right now, Bad Wolf having a tough time with the Betties at the front end.
Starter Ruckus here looking for points. Gets around on the outside. 5 5 points in an all-natural grand slam.
Bad Wolf breaks out. She's on her scoring pass, and the High Rollers set up shop at the back. They're immediately under the attack.
Starter Ruckus going for the apex jump. Does not succeed. She's going for the misconduct, I believe. No, that wasn't misconduct. I'm sorry.
Kill Nice taking care of that for us, and we've got Bad Wolf back on the attack, weaving her way around the outside with one more. Takes it through for all 5.
Only 2 blockers there for the Betties.
High Rollers doing their best to hold down your mom's favorite, who gets a piece of Bad Wolf and recycles her to the back of the pack. High Rollers drop in and sweep everybody out of the way. Bad Wolf slides on through on the inside.
Deluxe getting shut down there by, that was Braun Swanson. And here come both blockers looking for the outside. Starter Ruckus getting held up by the girls in green, and there goes Bad Wolf.
Braun Swanson holding the inside. Bashionista in the center. That's not Bashionista, it's Iron Meg. Right now, Braun Swanson trying to hold her down. Last line of defense up front. Oh, and she lost her at the last second.
4 more points for Starter Ruckus there, and that's going to be the end of that jam. Bane.
Want to have a huge shout out to OHSU Sports Medicine. It's proud to be the official medical care team of the Rose City Rollers.
Starter Ruckus with some of the best footwork I've ever seen getting around Braun Swanson right there. It's not an easy task to fake her out.
Not at all, and we are in the midst of a team timeout brought to you by the Breakneck Betties. Sounds like it's time for a Mike Checks Music Minute.
And we're right back at it. Both teams filtering back onto the track. Menstrual Psycho up for your High Rollers. And she'll be taking on the Lady in the Mask, Sprouta Control.
Empty penalty box. Everyone is here to party again. The High Rollers taking the front wall, trying to shut down Sprouta Control. Meanwhile, Minstrel Cycle getting held up at the back.
Up front, Bashionista trying to run the line and holding down Sprouta Control. Sprouta Control with one more to get by. Finally breaks out, takes lead jammer.
Minstrel Cycle out of the box as well. And the pack is picking up pace.
High Rollers on the run up front. Fashionista down in the turn. And
that is sending Sprouta Control. I believe that was a direction of gameplay penalty. Meanwhile, Minstrel Cycle picking up 5 points, and there's a party in the penalty box. I think there's more girls in the box than on the track.
Minstrel Cycle in a great position to rack up some points right now as her skaters start to return to the track from the penalty box. Illegal procedure called on Shaolin Spocker. And Minstrel Psycho hung up in the very backfield, looking for a way to break through that line.
Getting hit to the inside, and there goes Sprouta Control working her way through, finds the inside lane. 4 points for Betties.
Sprouta Control is a slippery one. She's really good on the inside line. Right now up against a full 3-wall from the High Rollers.
Meanwhile, Minstrel Cycle getting run to the back and then bumped to the inside again. A lot of recycling going on.
Fashionista powering Sprout of Control out at the turn and dragging her back full track.
Bane. Pony. Just reminding our guests here tonight that we have some lovely Pabst Blue Ribbon beer in the penalty box. Pabst Blue Ribbon, bad girls, good derby, good beer, and even gooder derby.
Pabst.
Yeah.
We've got number 2 Avalanche on the line here for the High Rollers, who have just beat the century mark 101-47. Super Six Pack stuck at the back, trying desperately to get around the likes of Iron Meg and Braun Swanson.
Super Six Pack still stuck back in the pack, the very back. High Rollers holding her down. Iron Meg on the outside. Braun Swanson on the in as Avalanche rolls through the pack.
Wow, she just cuts right through the middle of that pack, picking up a 5-point grand slam in the process.
Iron Mag deep in the drag back right now with Super Six Pack. Braun Swanson running the line.
Avalanche for another 5 points for the High Rollers with a tight pack there. Oh, tough hit there by Super Six Pack, knocking Avalanche out of the way. Jammer on jammer violence.
And the Betties filter to the back of the pack to meet up with Avalanche and slow down her assault. Going for the inside. Avalanche meets up with more Betties. And the beating is on.
And Avalanche gets around your mom's favorite for another 5 points for the High Rollers.
Super Six Pack to the penalty box leaves Avalanche on the track all by herself. High Rollers hanging back, letting Avalanche start the assault, followed by Iron Meg, and she breaks out on the outside. 5 more.
Great job by Iron Meg. They're getting in there, breaking up that wall of red for Avalanche to get through.
Iron Meg on the assault. The door is open and Avalanche flies on through.
Betty's trying to regroup now as all of their blockers are back on the track. Super Six Pack trying to get around Envy Adams and Iron Meg, not having a whole lot of luck. Number 7 in there as well, Hari Kari.
High Rollers just sitting on a high-end power wall game. Bane.
And if you are unlike me and do things other than roller derby, you can check out pdxpipeline.com, your online source for Portland's music, arts, and events happenings. pdxpipeline.com.
And it's Start a Ruckus for your Breakneck Betties taking on Bad Wolf.
Start a Ruckus getting the inside lane, picks up lead jammer for the Betties.
Bad Wolf taking a beating, forcing her way through the front end of the Betties. Drop in and slow her down.
Bad Wolf knocked to the outside. Meanwhile, Start a Ruckus looking for some points there. Getting plowed to the side there.
Bad Wolf breaks out of the pack and Start a Ruckus finds a wall of green at the front end.
Start a Ruckus has had enough, doesn't want the Rollers to pick up any more points on that jam, so she calls it off. Bane.
Number 1969, Sweet Jane dropping in and working on a super clear right as that jam was called off. Bane, have at it.
Kelly Brown loves roller derby.
And we love Kelly Brown, don't we?
And we love Kelly Brown for loving roller derby. It's a love thing.
And it's Super Six Pack back on the line for the Betties.
Actually, I believe that is Ivy Cardi Attack jamming for the Betties, but there goes Neurotic and Nedra picking up lead jammer for the High Rollers.
I know they're doing that to me on purpose. And it's Neurotic Nedra being recycled to the very back of the pack.
Ivy Cardi Attack still trying to get around the likes of Iron Meg and Braun Swanson. But we've got Neurotic Nedra going to the penalty box for a back block.
And speaking of action in the pack, Breaking out is Ivy Cardi Attack, taking no guff from the High Rollers.
This jam will go its full 2 minutes, but Ivy Cardi Attack now getting 30 seconds of unanswered points while Neurotic Nedra sits in the penalty box.
Ripley doing a super job scraping off Iron Meg and holding her to the outfield off the track during that pass. Beautiful strategic thought. Strategery all the way around.
So much strategery, it makes my head hurt.
Iron Meg and Braun Swanson in the backfield trying to slow down Ripley from rejoining the pack.
And Neurotic Nedra at the back of the pack here. She's working on the inside lane. Number 7 getting in there. Harikari trying to break up a path for her.
This has turned into quite a brawl up front.
Nice.
Northern Lights Out drops Nedra to the outside and drags her to the back of the pack.
T Nasty on the way to the penalty box, and there goes Ivy Cardi Attack for 4 points for the Betties.
Nedra once again being escorted to the outside of the track and held down by Northern Lights Out.
Ivy Cardi Attack with a solid 3-wall in front of her at the front of the pack. Pushing against that triangle, and that's going to be it for that jam.
Wow, that was a great jam. Bane!
And as these skaters line up on that jammer line, I am thankful that there's Tonkin.com, or else we wouldn't have a jammer line. Tonkin.com, the largest selection of new and used autos in the Pacific Northwest.
We're going to have time for at least one more jam here in the first period, but don't forget to get your raffle tickets. We will be drawing that winner at halftime.
Sprout of Control and Avalanche on the track right now. Up front, Avalanche slamming, putting everything she has into that red wall.
Avalanche with one more to get around. She is your lead jammer now for the High Rollers. Sprout of Control taking that star cover off.
Sprout of Control having a tough time breaking through. Avalanche with a hop, skip, and a jump over the apex. Slides through, grabs her points, and calls it off. All grace, all the time.
And as this first half is winding down, you might find a nice Pabst Blue Ribbon beer will be there for you to enjoy in the second half. Pabst Blue Ribbon, proud sponsor of Roll City Rollers. Good beer, gooder roller derby.
On the line, number 299, Bad Wolf for your High Rollers.
Betty's taking the front wall there. A 3-4 wall with Bad Wolf trying to break it through.
Starter Ruckus stuck on the inside. Iron Meg and Harikari taking her to the very back of the pack.
Bad Wolf still trying to break up that front pack there, trying to get around Northern Lights Out. She's got
your mom's favorite driving through the line, trying to sweep everybody out of the way and holding down the drag back on the attack. Number 69, Starter Ruckus.
Bad Wolf gets knocked to the outside and drugged to the back by your mom's favorite, Northern Lights Out.
Your mom's favorite going absolutely nuts in the pack through this whole jam. Whoops, is now on her way to the penalty box.
Starter Ruckus getting around that hit by number 7, Harikari, and she is your lead jammer.
Bad Wolf breaks out on the outside. And it's a scramble in the pack for Starter Ruckus to break out. That jam is off. And it's intermission coming up next. Audience participation fun time led by Bane and Mistress Mouth, as well as our raffle.
All right, looks like we are ready to get back underway. If you're just joining us, the High Rollers in the lead, 134-62 over the Breakneck Betties. But we have 30 more minutes of gameplay in store for you. I hate to sound cliche, but it's still early enough. It could go either way.
I've never heard that before, as Avalanche takes to the track and right now slams away at the front end of the red wall.
Sprout of Control being held up in the back by Iron Meg.
Avalanche on her way to the penalty box after a cut call. That leaves Sprout of Control on the track all by herself.
Sprout of Control still trying to get around Braun Swanson, Hari Kari, and Iron Meg.
Iron Meg fights her way forward, breaks through, but not in time to stop Sprout of Control from taking lead jammer.
High Rollers trying to regroup here, but they got a goat in the back by Iron Meg. She's now up with the rest of her pack as Sprout of Control is trying to get through that pack. Does so on the inside lane for 5.
Sprout of Control breaks out, and Avalanche hung up in the backfield, trying to find her way through the pack right now.
Avalanche out of the pack on her initial pass out of the penalty box. Sprout of Control's had enough of that jam and calls it off after picking up 3 more points for the Betties.
Bane.
And we want to give a huge shout out to Left Turn Clothing, not only proud sponsor of the travel team, but also of the High Rollers. Left Turn Clothing, where fashion meets function.
On the line, Northern Lights Out for your Breakneck Betties.
Taking on Bad Wolf for the High Rollers. Empty penalty box. Everyone's here for the party. Northern Lights Out looking to the front where the High Rollers have set up camp. Gets around Envy Adams and is your lead jammer for the Betties.
In the back, Bad Wolf still having a tough time with the Breakneck Betties as the High Rollers drop in and scrape off all the red that's been slowing her down.
Sprout of Control going right past the Rogue One, going up trying to get around those 2 green blockers, and she's through for 5.
Rita Manuel doing a super job trying to break Bad Wolf free as the High Rollers all start taking a swing at it.
Northern Lights out at the front of the pack on a scoring run, but there goes Bad Wolf getting through on the initial pass. 5 more points for Northern Lights Out.
It's a race to the back of the pack. Northern Lights Out decides to call it off.
And Moreland Vision Source, a proud sponsor of our own Breakneck Betties. Moreland Vision Source, helping the Betties focus on the game since 2011.
Iron Meg, Hari Kari, Braun Swanson, and Shaolin Spocker fill out the line for the High Rollers, covering for number 1717, Neurotic Nedra.
Starter is trying to push her way through. She's almost had an opening. Now she's got a solid triangle of green to get around. Neurotic Nedra still trying to make some way in the back of the pack. There she goes. She sees that opening on the inside. Lead jammer goes to the High Rollers.
High Rollers throwing the power line at Starter Ruckus right now, and she's making absolutely no progress.
Here comes number 1967, Age of Aquarius.
Nedra to the penalty box.
Starter Ruckus out of the pack now on the initial jam. She's going to come around looking for some points. We are going to go a full 2 minutes here. Starter Ruckus in a power jam for the Betties.
High Rollers with the forced out on number 69, Starter Ruckus. Breakneck Betties focusing a lot of attention on keeping Iron Meg occupied in the backfield through this whole jam. Right now, Neurotic Nedra feeding through the line.
5 points and a grand slam there for Neurotic Nedra. And it looks like Shaolin Spocker going to the penalty box on a back block.
Your mom's favorite, shrugging off an assault from Iron Meg and Braun Swanson. Holding the line up front against Neurotic Nedra.
Neurotic Nedra getting pushed to the outside there by number 210. That's T Nasty.
Braun Swanson feeds her through to the inside as Iron Meg holds the outside line.
Both jammers just shut down here. We've got Neurotic Nedra at the front against that wall of red. Starter Ruckus at the back trying to get around Iron Meg, Braun Swanson, and Hari Kari. And the time runs out on that jam.
That was bonkers. Bane.
I was just ruminating on how these women are so strong. They must go to CrossFit Excellence. Proud sponsor of the Breakneck Betties, helping the Betties continue breaking necks and dreams.
Want to give a great big shout out and welcome to the Lamb Research Women in Engineering Group in the house tonight. Thank you, ladies.
Avalanche back on the line for the high rollers. She's hanging out with just about everybody in the Breakneck Betties in the backfield.
Up at the front, there goes Sprout of Control, picking up a lead jammer for the Betties.
High rollers drop in, scrape off the red, and Avalanche is free for a scoring pass.
High Rollers trying to regroup here to shut down Sprout of Control. She gets hit to the inside and calls off the jam.
Fashionista with the super hit to the inside, forcing the call off on that jam. Bane!
And one of our proud sponsors of the High Rollers, Upswept Creative, not your average branding agency. Upswept Creative.
Once again, Harikari, Iron Meg, Braun Swanson running the line for the High Rollers, covering for Bad Wolf.
Super six-pack lining up here for the Betties. But Bad Wolf getting up to the front of that red triangle wall.
Super six-pack having a tough time with Harikari on the inside right now. Iron Meg on the out. Braun Swanson holding the line.
Bad Wolf with one more to get around. They say no pack. They got to let her go. Lead jammer goes to the High Rollers.
Bad Wolf's got a lot of fight in her. Super six-pack breaks out. She's on her scoring pass as Bad Wolf re-enters the back.
Bad Wolf sees an opening on the inside lane, but gets bumped into the inside, calls off the jam.
And another proud sponsor of our own High Rollers, Red Fox Vintage. Find your retro at the Fox.
Braun Swanson, Rogue One, Fashionista, and Rita Manuel on the line for the High Rollers, covering for...
We have got, I can't
Minstrel
see.
Cycle.
Minstrel Cycle, I can't see without glasses, but she is jamming for the Betties and going up to the front against that green four wall. Start a ruckus, trying to get around the outside. She's got to get around Braun Swanson now.
Once again, Braun Swanson and Start a Ruckus fighting it out. And that leaves just enough room for Minstrel Psycho to break out on her scoring pass, but Start a Ruckus holding lead jammer.
Yeah, she had gotten in front of that last blocker, but swallowed up by the group. Still had lead jammer, so she was able to call off that jam.
That was a breakout and a half. Bane.
Well there, Pony. We have ourselves a huge shout out from Ellison Advertising to the High Rollers, your direct source for customized apparel, print, and promotion. Ellison Advertising.
We've got number 2, that's Avalanche jamming for the High Rollers, taking on number 160, Sprout of Control for the Betties.
And Avalanche right now fighting it out with the Breakneck Betties in the backfield. Everybody bunched up at the pivot line. Avalanche breaks out on the outside and takes lead jammer.
Sprout of Control getting shut down there by Harikari and friends. But she's through now. There goes Sprout of Control on her initial pass.
Iron Meg using Shaolin Spocker as a battering ram to break down the wall for her Avalanche, and that jam is off.
Roller Derby's always a little bit sweeter with a beer, Fat Tire Ale, Ranger IPA, available from the concession stand from New Belgian Brewing Company.
Bad Wolf lining up here against Starter Rocket, or I'm sorry, that's Super Six Pack. With an empty penalty box.
Wow, holy mackerel.
I know.
It's almost special for this game. Hey, it's Super Six Pack up front with everybody from the High Rollers.
Super Six Pack picks up lead jammer for the Betties. Bad Wolf still with one more to get around, gets around Northern Lights out, and she's out.
The breakout due to Northern Lights out doing a super job breaking her jammer free. Bad Wolf on the attack, and that jam is off.
Super Six Pack picking up 4 more points before calling it off.
Bane.
Should you find yourself hungry after the bout, check out Joe's Burgers. 4 locations, awesome burgers in the official feeder of the Rose City Rollers volunteers. Ooh, that means we get some. I'm so happy for Joe's Burgers.
On the line for your high rollers, Shaolin Spocker. And around the outside, number 69, Starter Ruckus takes lead jammer.
Shaolin Spocker now out of the pack as well on her initial pass as all the blockers try to regroup. Starter Ruckus looking on the outside lane, gets around Braun Swanson, picks up the points, calls off the jam.
All action all the time. Braun Swanson can't hold down, what's her name?
That was
Starter Ruckus.
And if you're not into burgers, we also have available Kind bars. Kind, a brand of all-natural whole nut and fruit bars made from ingredients you can see and pronounce.
I told you I'd never really seen this game before, so... Starter Ruckus going crazy on the track all by herself right now.
Power jam here for the Betties.
I mean, that Sprouted Control breaks out and takes lead jammer.
High rollers trying to put a group together, but the Betty blockers coming in, trying to mash that all up. Sprouted Control looking for the inside lane, goes down right in front of number 260. That's Envy Adams. Now Braun Swanson getting on the action, trying to shut her down.
Braun Swanson all up and down the track, trying to slow down Sprouted Control. Finally drops her to the inside.
Chevy Chevelle getting in there, trying to break it up as well. Shaolin Spocker hit to the inside, going to give it another go as we've got Sprouted Control going to the penalty box.
Braun Swanson showing why she's one of the best of the best.
The penalty pendulum swings the other way, and now we have the high rollers with 30 seconds of unanswered points here.
On the inside, Ripley holding the line. Shaolin Spocker breaks through and takes all 5.
However, Chevy Chevelle trying to slow her down, run some time off that penalty clock.
Huge fake out and a power through at the front end. Shaolin Spocker breaks through Chevy Chevelle and Northern Lights out.
And Sprouted Control out of the penalty box, trying to shut down Shaolin Spocker.
Sprouted Control trying to work her way around the outside. High rollers there waiting for her. She drops to the in and breaks out.
Chevy Chevelle and Northern Lights out, clearing that path there for Sprouted Control to break through the pack. And now Shaolin Spocker is out as well.
It is a brawl at the inside. Braun Swanson puts the brakes on and holds down Sprouted Control.
That's going to do it for that jam. Sprouted Control picking up 3 more, taking them past the century mark, 103 to 162. Bane.
And Rose City Rollers would like to thank the following sponsors: the Portland Mercury, Portland Vital Signs, City Graphics, and K's Bar.
Super six-pack lining up here against Avalanche.
Penalty box is empty. Everyone on the track, and Avalanche is on the assault.
Avalanche trying to get around T Nasty and Sweet Jane. Picking up lead jammer for the high rollers.
Still trying to fight her way through. Super six-pack held up on the inside line.
Nice little apex hop there by Avalanche, getting through the pack, picking up 5 points on an all-natural grand slam.
Super six-pack still being held down as the Breakneck Betties hold the line to slow down Avalanche.
Iron Meg and Rogue One really shutting down Super six-pack here.
Super six-pack fed to the inside line, recycled back into the pack as Avalanche breaks out and takes another scoring pass.
Bastonista going after Super six-pack with no luck there.
High rollers set up shop on the outside, and your mom's favorite slams Avalanche.
Avalanche trying to nail that apex jump. Took a tough fall there. Glad to see her getting back up. Bane.
Kaboom, Bane.
And for those Derby fans that could not be here tonight, we want to have a huge thank you to Blaze Streaming Media. The live broadcast of tonight's bout brought to you by Blaze Streaming Media.
Official timeout. Here comes Mistress Mouth.
Also, a huge shout out to Echo Construction. The friendly people at Echo Construction love custom home building, remodels, and roller derby. And the Wheels of Justice. And Pabst Blue Ribbon. And Two Town Cider. Don't forget also to check out Pa-Anna Portland, clothing for people who live fully, play long, and travel well. Pa-Anna Portland. I have also living here a year now, yet to actually try a voodoo donut. I hear they are fantastic.
Referees just wanted to make sure if there needed to be a penalty assessed at the end of that last jam, there was no call going to be made.
To the box. On the line, Bad Wolf right now taking on Starter Ruckus. Everybody piling up on the inside. Starter Ruckus blows out, shrugs off a block from Shaolin Spocker and takes lead jammer. Bad Wolf recycled to the back of the pack, and up front, Chevy Chevelle trying to clear the path for Starter Ruckus, who has found herself hung up with Rita Manuel and Braun Swanson. Round the outside, Starter Ruckus grabbing all five.
Bad Wolf still trying to find a path through the back of the pack. Nice hop there by Starter Ruckus over the apex, picking up 5 more for the Betties.
I do believe Starter Ruckus is officially on fire.
We have a star pass over to number 1701, Shaolin Spocker, forcing the call off.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you hadn't noticed, Starter Ruckus.
One day they will make a movie about Starter Ruckus, which they will show at the Laurelhurst Theater and Pub. The best of modern cinema, independent art, and classic film, and the To Come Starter Ruckus movie. Portland's movie lovers. Laurelhurst Theater and Pub.
Sprout of Control here, taking the line against Neurotic Nedra.
Both teams down 1 to the penalty box.
Betties with a solid triangle wall up at the front. Holy Rollers with a triangle in the back, being driven by Iron Meg.
And we've officially made it all the way to the pivot line as Rita Manuel joins back in and tries to break free her jammer.
Very, very impressive blocking here going on from both teams. Obviously, Sprout of Control looking for another way. Sees the inside lane, picks up lead jammer.
And out goes Nedra. One more to get by.
Oh.
Bam! That was a bit of a tumble in the straightaway.
Swing and a hard hit there by T Nasty, sending her to the penalty box.
And Neurotic Nedra's back on the track, breaks out. High Rollers drop into cover for her. She's on her scoring pass.
5 more on a grand slam for Sprout of Control. Oh, getting shut down there and calling off the jam.
Playing the part of telephone pole this evening would be Bashanista.
Wah, wah.
And if you would like food so good it breaks the mouth, 808, food so good it breaks the mouth.
And we have a team timeout being called by the High Rollers. Once again, that's going to be a Mike Checks Music Minute.
And we're right back at it. High rollers dropping some heavy hitters onto the track to cover for Avalanche.
Taking on number 69, that is Starter Ruckus.
Breakneck Betty starting down one, closing the gap with almost 12 minutes left in the game. And it's a pileup. Harikari busts in and sets Avalanche free.
Avalanche now has got around through the front of the pack. She's your lead jammer for the high rollers.
It is a pileup still in the turn. Braun Swanson holding things down up front, and a cut is called on Starter Ruckus.
Oh, tough collision there between T Nasty and Braun Swanson. No, that wasn't Braun Swanson. I can't see numbers. That's number 37, McGillicuddy.
Easily one of the best games of the evening. T Nasty out there doing plenty of work. Took a huge hit from Braun Swanson just a moment ago. And right now, running the front end. Drops in front of Avalanche and starts to hold the line.
High Roller is now looking for just to control the clock at this point, trying to hold on to that lead. Avalanche now through, picking up 5 points for the High Rollers.
T Nasty driving through to get to the front end. And it's Starter Ruckus trying to power through that line. I can't believe how quickly she moves from left to right on the track.
Yet the Rogue One and Braun Swanson keeping up with her every step of the way. And there goes Avalanche for 5 more for the Rollers.
A little bit of help from T Nasty broke her out from that Braun Swanson trap, and she's on her run. That's Starter Ruckus.
Avalanche now coming around on the outside. A swing and a miss by Northern Lights out. And that's going to do it for that jam.
Avalanche shrugging off an epic hit at the end of that jam. Bane.
You know what else is pretty epic? She Bop, a female-friendly adult toy bouquet in Portland, Oregon.
Words well spoken, my friend.
Super six pack here lining up for the Breakneck Betties, taking on Bad Wolf for the High Rollers.
And that Super six pack up for your Breakneck Betties. Pretty much nobody going anywhere. Number 1969 dropping in. Sweet Jane to break open the hole for Super six pack.
Nice job staying up there with the fight with Iron Meg. Now she's looking for points.
McGillicuddy dropping in and doing some good wall breaking for Bad Wolf.
Envy Adams here looking to bridge the 2 parts of the pack. And there goes Super six pack with 5 more for the Betties.
Here comes McGillicuddy, Iron Meg, and Fashionista to break down the wall, slowing down their jammer.
Deluxe not letting Bad Wolf get to that inside lane.
Fashionista dishing out some power hits in the middle right now, bridging out the line.
Bad Wolf getting shut down by Sweet Jane.
Chevy Chevelle holding down the outside line and showing Bad Wolf the outer territories.
Gonna drop her back behind Sweet Jane, and there goes Super six pack getting around the girls in green and gold for 5 more for the Betties.
Bad Wolf finally breaks out of the line. She's on her scoring pass as the Breakneck Betties fight for the front line.
Got number 37, McGillicuddy, trapped in the back, but the pack picks up pace. She gets to the front of the pack and calls it off, picking up 2 more for the Betties.
Super Jam Bane.
And we can't have Derby without a jammer line, and we can't have a jammer line without a sponsor. So thank you to Tonkin.com for sponsoring our jammer line. The largest selection of new and used autos in the Pacific Northwest is only a click away at Tonkin.com.
Sprout control on the line here for the Betties, taking on Shaolin Spocker.
Everybody on the track. Penalty box is empty. And this game is underway. Shaolin Spocker recycled to the back of the pack. The Betties are there to meet her at the pivot line, not the pivot line, the jammer line.
Sprout of Control getting shut down by Braun Swanson. Now looking for the outside lane, getting hung up behind Harikari, and there goes Shaolin Spocker getting pushed to the outside.
T Nasty and Your Mom's Favorite on the outside, showing Shaolin Spocker where to go.
Sprout of Control going to the penalty box for cutting the track, courtesy of Braun Swanson.
And the fight is still on in the straightaway. Shaolin Spocker trying to find her way out of the pack right now. T Nasty on the inside, Your Mom covering the middle. Shaolin Spocker going nowhere, but here comes Braun Swanson to sweep the line.
There goes Shaolin Spocker. A minute later, picking up lead jammer.
High Rollers gathering strength in the center of the track, and Sprout of Control.
Rage of Aquarius knocking Shaolin Spocker to the inside. Gonna run her all the way to the back here. Sprout of Control trying to get around Braun Swanson and King Doom Hearts.
Sprout of Control having a tough time with Braun Swanson in the backfield. Your Mom's Favorite trying to scrape her off. Right now, Braun Swanson escorting her to the back of the pack.
Nice break up there by Harikari as well, breaking down that wall of Betties. And there goes Shaolin Spocker for 5 more for the High Rollers.
Everybody back on the track. Sprout of Control still being held down by Braun Swanson. Harikari up front. As Shaolin Spocker powers through with one more to get by. Rage of Aquarius putting up quite a fight.
Carry go around also getting in that little tiff there.
Bane.
And want to have a huge shout out to OHSU Sports Medicine. OHSU Sports Medicine is proud to be the official medical care team of the Rose City Rollers. Thank you, OHSU Sports Medicine. Thanks a lot.
We've got a team timeout here called by the Betties. Time for some musics.
Time's up. Back to play. Avalanche on the track for your High Rollers.
Taking on Starter Ruckus for the Breakneck Betties.
Fashionista, Dancinista, Iron Meg.
Rolling back from the pivot line, deciding not to go old school.
Envy Adams running the line up front, and they're holding down Starter Ruckus.
Avalanche trying to get around that wall.
Envy Adams with the envious hit on Starter Ruckus.
Fashionista knocking some bodies out of bounds, and there goes Avalanche, your lead jammer.
Starter Ruckus still trying to fight her way around it. Envy Adams finally had to let her go.
Holding Iron Meg there in the back for a moment. Here comes Avalanche getting around number 426. That's Ripley.
Avalanche fakes out Ripley on that turn. And Starter Ruckus round the outside.
Avalanche in hot to that pack, sees the inside lane, picks up 4 more, and that's going to be the end of that jam. High Rollers breaking the 200 mark, 205 to 142. 4.5 minutes left in the game.
Wah, wah.
Secret Aardvark, viva la Aardvark.
Viva! Bad Wolf on the line for your High Rollers.
Taking on Super Six Pack for the Betties. Empty penalty box. And we've got Bad Wolf looking for the inside lane, but goes to the outside. Now trying to get around Chevy Chevelle. She's got one more there in the front. Chevy Chevelle recycling in with T-Nasty.
Super six-pack fighting her way through the back right now. Braun Swanson and Rogue One showing her the outside of the track.
Bad Wolf runs out the pack, gets around T-Nasty, and your mom's favorite picks up lead jammer for the High Rollers.
Super six-pack finally breaking out past Braun Swanson.
Bad Wolf coming up into the pack looking for points.
And it's quite a brawl in there. Everybody waiting for Super six-pack to rejoin the line. That jam is off.
And meet the future of car sharing with Car2Go. Sign up today at car2go.com.
We've got Shaolin Spocker lining up here for the High Rollers, taking on IV Cardi Attack for the Betties.
And they're off. IV Cardi Attack right on the run up front with Iron Meg on the outside. Envy Adams at the front. Iron Meg drops off to scrape off some of the red.
Everybody getting knocked to the outside and dropped to the back. We've got backwards roller derby.
Everybody skate backwards. It's exciting.
IV Cardi Attack back on the track here, trying to get around the girls in gold. And almost gets around, but not quite. Is going to recycle again, and we've got Shaolin Spocker up at the front now.
And IV Cardi Attack breaks through that huge crowd as number 32 is on her way to the penalty box. That's a deluxe.
Another huge shout out to Tonkin.com for providing us with our jammer line. The largest selection of new and used autos in the Pacific Northwest is only a click away at Tonkin.com.
3-on-4 pack advantage here to the High Rollers. Avalanche on the line, taking on Starter Ruckus for the Betties.
High Rollers drop the line on it. Avalanche breaks through, and she's up front with the red wall.
Starter Ruckus trying to get around Braun Swanson now. And McGillicuddy, and she's through. She's your lead jammer.
T-Nasty putting the brakes on Avalanche's assault with your mom's favorite running the inside.
Starter Ruckus with a fake around McGillicuddy, getting up towards the front of the pack, but meeting up with Braun Swanson, who says, "You shall not pass."
Your mom's favorite dishing out hits left and right all the way up front as Avalanche is on the run.
Starter Ruckus getting sent to the penalty box for direction of gameplay. Tries to go to the penalty box from the wrong direction. Is going to get set all the way around before her penalty time will start.
It's the skate of shame.
That's going to leave almost the last 30 seconds of this game in a power jam for Avalanche.
Avalanche, who's been packing in an amazing evening here. T-Nasty and Northern Lights out up front. They cannot stop her.
And of course, this jam will go the full 2 minutes. So don't watch that period clock. Watch the jam clock instead.
High Rollers drop back. Wait for the action as Avalanche slides into the wall. Braun Swanson scraping off Northern Lights out, and Avalanche around the outside.
5 more points there for Avalanche as Starter Ruckus gets out of the pack and wants to use the last 20 seconds as well as possible. Bump to the inside. Gonna get recycled to the back.
And this jam goes on. Starter Ruckus right now trying to break through. Braun Swanson and Harikari holding her down. That game is over.
OHSU Sports Medicine. OHSU Sports Medicine paid us for 3 shout outs, so I'm giving them their third.
And of course, as usual, we will wait for that final score, but I think it's going to be pretty safe to say that the High Rollers are going to be, I think this is their first win of the season, is that correct? Let's make some noise for the High Rollers, ladies and gentlemen. Take your lap, ladies.
And let's see a lap from your breakneck Betties.